The tale opens with the grand wedding of the central characters, Yan-woo, the male lead, and Hai-yin, the female lead. From the very first moment, the atmosphere is lavish and filled with splendor. Through a voiceover, Yan-woo reflects on this day, remarking, "Some might say my wedding was the wedding of the century." The screen shifts to scenes of them together after marriage, sweet, idyllic snapshots that seem to capture a perfect union. Their laughter, shared meals, and small moments paint the picture of a couple deeply content in their life together. It turns out these words are not just idle thoughts. Yan-woo is speaking during an interview. 3 years have passed since their wedding, and the interviewer poses a question he hears often. What's it like being the husband of a queen? With a humble smile, Yan-woo replies, "I'm simply a lucky man who married the woman I love." At the same time, in another location, Hai-yin is also in the middle of an interview. Her tone is calm yet firm as she addresses persistent rumors. "I know people say Yan-woo married me for my family's wealth. These whispers only started because I never showed my face to the public. But from today, I'm revealing it." The room falls silent at her words. Despite the outward image of marital bliss, there's an undercurrent of distance between them. The truth becomes clear when we see that they live in separate rooms. During meals, they sit at opposite ends of a long dining table. Hai-yin is the CEO of Queen Group, an empire in its own right, while Yan-woo works as a lawyer. There's a fleeting moment when his smile fades, betraying emotions he doesn't voice, before he forces it back into place. When Hai-yin is asked how they first met, she recounts the moment. 5 years ago, I had just returned from overseas and joined Queen Group as an intern. No one knew who I really was. I couldn't even use the photocopier. Yan-woo saw me struggling and came over to turn it on for me. I soon realized he liked me. That was why he flirted with me. When Yan-woo is asked the same question, he offers a more playful recollection. Hai-yin was kicking the photocopier so hard, I thought she was going to break it. At that time, Hai-yin had also begun to develop feelings for him. Hearing gossip about her, Yan-woo told her, "Stop making these mistakes or you'll be kicked out of the company." She began to respond, but he interrupted gently. "Whenever your boss scolds you, it hurts me." Hai-yin challenged him with a curious, "And why does it hurt you when I'm scolded?" He didn't have an answer ready. She simply told him to think about it and walked away. That evening, as rain poured down, Hai-yin called her driver to pick her up. Yan-woo appeared and asked if she had an umbrella. When she said no, he offered his and remarked, "You always seem to need help, and I can't stand to see you troubled." Her next question was direct. "Why can't you bear to see me in trouble?" Summoning courage, Yan-woo revealed, "I graduated from Seoul National University Law School. My family lives in Iduri town, and we own over 35 cows." Puzzled, she asked what he meant. He explained, "If you lose this job and can't find another, I can still take care of you." The confession left Hai-yin stunned. Before she could respond, he reassured her, "You don't have to give me an answer now. Don't feel pressured." Handing her the umbrella, he walked away into the rain. That gesture only deepened her admiration for him. Returning to the present, Hai-yin explains that was how their romance began. But once Yan-woo discovered her family background, he abruptly resigned and returned to his hometown. In a flashback, we see Yan-woo in his room, only to hear the loud thrum of helicopter blades. Stepping outside, he sees a helicopter landing in the fields. Hai-yin steps out, shouting, "Are you going to leave me just like that?" He runs toward her, embracing her tightly, and for a moment, joy radiates between them. Back in the present, Yan-woo maintains during the interview that their married life is still as full of love as it was 3 years ago. But his eyes betray the truth. There's a distance now that words can't hide. In the next sequence, Hai Yin arrives at her office and asks her assistant whether they've been invited into the 1 Trillion Club group chat. The assistant explains that their monthly sales are 900 billion, just shy of the 1 trillion threshold. Hai Yin considers the difference small, only 100 billion. But this milestone matters because an international luxury brand, Harina, collaborates exclusively with companies in the 1 Trillion Club. Determined, Hai Yin decides to cut ties with all brands in her company that underperform in sales. A meeting is called. They compile a list of low-performing brands, and she orders their closure. One director objects, saying the legal department advised against sudden closures. When Hai Yin demands to know who said that, the answer is Mr. Yan Wu. In the next scene, her assistant goes to Yan Wu's department and tells him the CEO wants to see him. He says he's in a meeting and will come later, but another director stresses that the CEO is upset. Reluctantly, he heads over. Hai Yin asks why they can't shut down unprofitable brands. Yan Wu explains that these brands have invested heavily, and abrupt termination isn't legally viable. She tells him to sue if needed, but he points out that such lawsuits would likely fail under current laws. Frustrated, she asks why they should keep losing money on them. He counters that the problem is inadequate promotion. The brands aren't well marketed, hence low sales. If they improve exposure, revenue will rise, avoiding complaints from these partners. Her reply is cold. Mr. Yan Wu, did I ask for your advice? I told you to close them. If they refuse, sue and win. Though anger flickers in his expression, he still says, "Yes, ma'am." After the meeting, Hai Yin leaves and Yan Wu follows. In the elevator, she steps in and closes the door, asking, "Are you in such a hurry to show everyone we don't get along?" He replies, "This has nothing to do with our relationship." She presses further, accusing him of going against her. She was about to fire a store manager, but he had warned the man beforehand. Yan Wu defends the manager, saying his years of service and dedication make it unfair to dismiss him over a small mistake. Her retort is sharp. You care too much about others. Do you want to be their hero? Stop worrying about them and think about those close to you. He asks pointedly, "Are you talking about yourself? And if so, do you really think we share such a close relationship?" She doesn't answer. Yan Wu then says, "I need to talk to you. Meet me in the lounge in an hour." She agrees, though her voice carries irritation, and she leaves. He waits in the lounge, but the hour slips by and day turns to night. Eventually, he returns to his office, where we see him working on divorce papers, the weight of his decision heavy in the air. Yan Wu receives a short, curt message from Hai Yin, asking him to come to the family lounge. He's clearly displeased at the request, but after a moment's hesitation, he complies. This is not just any casual visit. Yan Wu actually resides in the Hong household as a live-in son-in-law, a position that already sets the tone for how the family treats him. Inside the grand family home, we are introduced to the Hong family members one by one. At the head is Chairman Hong, the powerful patriarch and leader of Queen Group. Then there's Bong Joon, his son, and also Hai Yin's father, and Hai Yin's elegant but sharp-tongued mother, Seo Hua. Hai Yin's older brother, Su Cheol, is there with his wife, Da Hee. The extended family includes Chairman Hong's girlfriend, the glamorous but controversial Se Hee, as well as Hai Yin's aunt, Bom Ja, who is notably absent because she's currently in prison. Since Yan Wu arrived later than expected, Hai Yin's mother immediately scolds him. He apologizes politely, though it's clear he's used to being talked down to. Not long after, Su Cheol, who happens to be CEO of Queen Mart, corners Yan Wu with a demand. A problem has arisen within Queen Mart, and Su Cheol wants Yan Wu to resolve it. Yan Wu responds evenly that handling Queen Mart's internal issues is not within his legal duties. But Su Cheol pushes back, claiming that his own lawyer is incompetent, and that Yan Wu has to step in whether he likes it or not. Before Yan Wu can even voice an objection, Hai-Yin's mother cuts in sharply. What's so hard about saying yes? Her tone makes it clear there's no room for debate. Under that pressure, Yan-Wu simply agrees, once again showing that this family treats his compliance as a given, and Hai-Yin does nothing to intervene on his behalf. The conversation then shifts in a personal direction. Hai-Yin's mother suddenly brings up her wish for them to start planning for a child. She claims it will silence the gossip swirling around the couple. She continues by announcing that after the baby arrives, Yan-Wu will go to Boston for 2 years to pursue an MBA. Yan-Wu's reply is calm but firm. I've already said I'm not interested in an MBA. Her answer is just as firm. And I've already told you. It's not for you to decide what you will or won't do. Amid this tension, Hai-Yin's father suddenly voices a request of his own. He would like to meet someone named Su Bin every month. Confused, the rest of the family asks who Su Bin is. He explains with pride, my granddaughter, Hai-Yin and Yan-Wu's daughter, Hong Su Bin. Yan-Wu blinks, then asks why the child would be named Hong Su Bin instead of Baek Su Bin with his surname. Hai-Yin's father retorts, you don't want my granddaughter to take her mother's surname? There's no need to cling to outdated patriarchal traditions. Using the father's surname is old-fashioned. Yan-Wu remains silent, swallowing his thoughts, and once again, Hai-Yin does not defend him. Later, as they walk toward their room, Yan-Wu stops Hai-Yin. He asks if it's wise to plan for a baby given the state of their relationship, especially since she expects him to go abroad alone afterward. Her reply is curt. Yes. What's the problem? You're not thinking I should go abroad with you, are you? Absolutely not. Yan-Wu replies. Then just do your part. We can hire someone to take care of the child, she answers coldly. Frustration flickers in his expression, but before he can press the point, Hai-Yin's phone rings. She answers, instructing someone to publish a flattering article about her and Yan-Wu. This irritates him further. Stop doing these interviews. I'm sick of them. If you're so eager to give interviews, do them alone, he says. How can I do them alone? They're all about our marriage, she responds. Then tell them how in love we are, how happy our marriage is. It's all a lie anyway. What's the difference? He snaps, before walking out of the house in anger. She remains silent, then takes another call, calmly telling someone which photos to use for the publication. Meanwhile, Su Cheol is in the garden when Hai-Yin storms toward him. Without warning, she grabs him and demands, how dare you give orders to my husband? She moves as if to hit him again, and the startled Su Cheol bolts, but she still manages to give him a few blows before warning him. If you ever disrespect Yan-Wu again, no one will be harsher than me. Frightened, Su Cheol nods in agreement. As she walks away, he mutters, you bully him more than anyone, and now you're taking it out on me. You're a psychopath. She stops mid-step, but before she can turn, Su Cheol quickly apologizes and flees. Elsewhere, Yan-Wu is drinking with his friend Yang. Yang notices his eyes and asks if he's crying. Yan-Wu forces a smile and jokes, I look cuter when I drink. Hai-Yin always said my cuteness was my strongest weapon. His smile fades, and tears begin to spill as he laments, why did my cuteness impress her? Why did I fall in love with her and ruin my life? If I weren't cute, she wouldn't have married me. Yang tries to comfort him, urging him to head home, but Yan-Wu refuses. Yang says he can't leave him like this, but Yan-Wu insists someone will take him home safely. He points toward 2 men sitting a short distance away. They play a strange game. Yan-Wu stands up. The 2 men stand as well. He sits, and they follow suit. This happens a few times, and each time the men mimic his actions. Yang watches in astonishment. Eventually, Yan-Wu stumbles out into the night alone, shouting, who says love is beautiful? Love has ruined my life. When he notices the 2 men still following him, he complains that he can't even cry in peace. Hearing this, the men turn and walk in the opposite direction, leaving him to wander home. singing a melancholy tune. Reaching the Hong residence, Yanwu approaches Hai Yin's room. Inside, she hears his footsteps and assumes he's coming to see her. She moves toward the door, ready to open it if he knocks. He stands outside for a long time, debating. Eventually, he decides not to disturb her and walks back to his own room. The sound of his door closing tells her he has left, and she quietly returns to bed. This brief moment reveals that, despite all their conflicts, they still care for one another in small, unspoken ways. Later, Hai Yin sits with her laptop, scrolling through old photos of Yanwu. She pauses at one of him, smiling warmly, and realizes she hasn't seen that expression in a long time. The next day, Yanwu visits the jail to see Hai Yin's aunt, Bomja. We learn she's been married 3 times, each ending in quick divorce. She was caught embezzling company funds, and when Chairman Hong found out, Bomja suspected Se-hee, the chairman's girlfriend, of informing on her. In a fit of rage, she attacked Se-hee, which only angered the chairman further and led to her imprisonment. Now, the chairman is concerned about her health and has sent Yanwu to arrange her bail. Yanwu informs her of this, adding that today is the death anniversary of Hai Yin's grandmother, the chairman's late wife, and the family has gathered for the memorial. We also hear of the chairman's eldest son, Bong Gul, who, due to a falling out with his father, moved abroad. He was expected to attend the memorial today. In keeping with family tradition, all the Hong sons-in-law are responsible for preparing the memorial feast. This includes Hai Yin's cousin's husbands, Su Cheol and Yanwu himself. As they work in the kitchen, one of them comments that all the sons-in-law suffer under the Hong family's demands. Another adds that he feels especially sorry for Yanwu, given that his wife is the CEO of Queen Group. The pressure on him must be enormous. Yanwu overhears and tells them to stop gossiping and focus on their tasks. Soon, Se-hee arrives. No one in the family likes her, but because of the chairman's influence, no one dares confront her. The memorial begins, but chaos erupts the moment Bomja arrives. She immediately directs her fury at Se-hee, demanding to know how she could attend the memorial for the woman she allegedly killed. She accuses Se-hee of causing the heart attack that led to Hai Yin's mother's death. Hai Yin's father tries to calm her, explaining that his wife died of a natural heart attack, not because of Se-hee. But Bomja turns to her uncle, insisting he believe her version of events. The uncle, however, points out that heart disease runs in the family and repeats that it was a natural death, not foul play. The air inside the memorial hall was thick with incense smoke and the quiet hum of whispered prayers. A few candles flickered faintly in the dim light, their soft glow dancing on the solemn faces of those gathered. Yanwu stood among them, his shoulders tense, trying to keep his expression unreadable. Just moments earlier, Bomja had been visibly upset, and Yanwu, in his calmest voice, had tried to soothe him. "Let's not make a scene," he murmured gently. "We should continue the memorial service." Meanwhile, outside the tall iron gates of the Hong family estate, the chairman's eldest son was waiting. His figure was faintly visible from the second floor, and when the chairman noticed him, his eyes narrowed into a glare. "He's not here to pay his respects," the chairman muttered under his breath. "He only came to stir up trouble, to get his picture taken. That's all." The bitterness in his tone hinted at a long-standing rift, the kind of deep-rooted family resentment that could not be mended with a single meeting. Today was not just any day, it was also Yanwu's father's birthday. Under normal circumstances, he would have left to visit him, to share a quiet meal or at least offer his greetings. But because of the memorial service and the strict rules of the Hong household, none of the sons-in-law were permitted to leave. It was one of those silent, unspoken commands from the chairman that no one dared to challenge. Yanwu, bound by this unyielding expectation, stayed in the house, his mind elsewhere. Later that day, the chairman summoned him. His voice was firm, his expression cold. There's a former employee who suddenly resigned, he said, his eyes narrowing in suspicion. I want you to investigate him. If he has betrayed our family in any way, his fate will be very bad. I don't just punish betrayal, Yan Wu. I destroy it. Completely. Yan Wu hesitated. But he worked for you for so many years, he said cautiously. Wouldn't it be unfair to treat him harshly without proof? The chairman's gaze hardened, his lips curling into a sharp, almost cruel smile. This is not about fairness. It's about setting an example. Anyone who dares to go against me or my family will face consequences so severe they will never forget them. The weight of those words pressed heavily on Yan Wu's chest. Fear, quiet but suffocating, began to creep through him. His mind flickered to thoughts he had been trying to suppress. The possibility of divorcing Haeon, his wife, and what might happen if her family found out. The Hong family was powerful, ruthless even. If the chairman reacted this way to an ex-employee, what would he do to a son-in-law who turned against them? The next morning, Yan Wu went to the hospital. Sitting across from the doctor, he let out a weary sigh. Lately, my appetite has vanished, he admitted. I feel suffocated. Even just looking at the people around me makes me uneasy. The doctor reviewed his medical reports, his brows knitting together. Your stress levels are extremely high, he said gravely. In your sentence completion test, you wrote that your biggest wish was a divorce. Can you tell me why? Yan Wu hesitated for a moment, then exhaled slowly, as if letting go of a heavy burden. I live with my wife's family, he began. There's my grandfather-in-law, his girlfriend, my father-in-law, my brother-in-law and his wife, and an aunt who was just released from prison. Every night, the whole family eats together. At 9 o'clock sharp, we all gather to discuss the day. And on top of that, there are 15 memorial services we have to attend each year. I have no time for myself. None. The doctor leaned forward. And your work? My job is fine, Yan Wu replied. Except that my wife is my boss, her boss is my father-in-law, and his boss is my grandfather-in-law. Whenever any of them call me, my hands, my feet, even my heart start trembling. The doctor, trying to offer a lifeline, suggested, you could always move out with your wife, start fresh somewhere else. Yan Wu's lips curved into a bitter smile. As much as I hate my in-laws, I hate my wife even more. The doctor blinked, startled. Why? She doesn't care about me. She doesn't care how her family treats me. She's selfish, only thinking of herself. I've done everything for her, but she's never once cared for me in return. Before we were married, she promised I could trust her. I was a fool to believe her. His mind drifted back to a memory from 3 years ago. The day Haeon had landed in her hometown by helicopter, walking toward him with a radiant smile. She had taken his hands and promised, I will never make you cry. The warmth of that moment was long gone. Now, Yan Wu said, his voice quiet but filled with resentment, I just hate her. That's why I want a divorce. Then why haven't you done it? The doctor asked gently. Yan Wu looked down. Because my father-in-law is a dangerous man. He destroys the lives of anyone who goes against him. If I file for divorce, he'll come for me. The doctor was silent for a moment, pity flickering in his eyes. He handed Yan Wu some medication and, in an unusual gesture, leaned forward to embrace him briefly, as if trying to offer comfort that words could not. Later, Grace, the Hong family's matchmaker, walked into a high-end department store and spotted Haeon. Trying to be friendly, she greeted her warmly, but Haeon barely acknowledged her, then turned and left. Grace's face hardened, her pride stung. Fueled by irritation, she went straight to Yan Wu's office and barged in. You know, I have connections with many wealthy families, she began, her voice laced with meaning. One of them is the Dae Young Group. You've heard about their son's accident, haven't you? Yes, Yan-Wu replied cautiously. Grace continued, Well, the son died, but his wife won't get a thing. His will stated that all his assets go to his children and nephew. That's not entirely true, Yan-Wu countered. Legally, the wife can claim half. I can recommend a good lawyer for her if you want. Grace's smile turned sharp. And who's a better lawyer than you? Besides, your situation isn't so different. What do you mean? He asked, frowning. Don't you know? Haeon wrote her will before marrying you. If anything happens to her, everything she owns goes to her family. You get nothing. She didn't want a loving husband. She wanted a servant to follow orders. Yan-Wu's jaw tightened. That's enough. Leave. Grace smirked but left him with those words lingering like poison in his thoughts. Later that day, Haeon received a call from a doctor asking her to come to the hospital. I don't have time, she said briskly. But whatever the doctor told her next left her stunned. Meanwhile, Yan-Wu was packing up his work when he saw her step out of the elevator. Come with me, she said firmly. I'm not going anywhere with you, he replied, irritation flashing across his face. She repeated her demand, but Yan-Wu, his patience gone, raised his voice. I said no. He turned and walked away. At home, he retrieved the divorce papers from his room and went to hers. We need to talk, he said. I need to tell you something first, she replied. Fine, he said, waving for her to go on. I'm going to die, she said plainly. The words hit him like ice water. What? What do you mean? I have 3 months left. The doctor told me today. Yan-Wu stood frozen. His plan for divorce evaporated in an instant. He quietly slipped the papers out of sight and said, his voice softer now, I wanted to apologize for how I've treated you. I'll take care of you. I promise. His eyes began to glisten. But how am I supposed to live without you? Her brows lifted in surprise. Are you serious? I love you, he said, pulling her into an embrace. A strange look crossed her face. If you can't live without me, would you die with me? His heart skipped. I didn't mean it literally. She stepped closer, her tone almost casual. It used to happen, you know. Long ago there was a custom called sanjang. When one spouse died, the other was cremated alongside them. A nervous laugh escaped him, but he studied her expression carefully, wondering if she truly meant it. Are you serious? I meant, you should stop pretending, she said finally. Relieved, he guided her to sit and asked, Tell me exactly what the doctor said. And with that, the scene shifted to a memory, to the moment she had walked into the hospital alone, unsure how she had even made it there. A short while ago, Haeon had looked at the doctor with a mix of confusion and unease. How did I even get here? She asked quietly, almost as if afraid of the answer. I was in the hospital lobby just a few minutes ago, and now I'm here. It feels like I just teleported. The doctor, who had been jotting notes, paused and studied her carefully. Has anything like this ever happened to you before? Haeon's eyes flickered as she searched her memory. I often get headaches, she admitted slowly. And sometimes I forget things. Important things. As she spoke, a buried memory stirred, unpleasant, yet vivid. Yes, this had happened before. She remembered sitting in a meeting room with her colleagues, and then, as if in the blink of an eye, she was suddenly back in her private office, unable to recall the moment in between. Another memory followed, sharper this time. That day, Yan-Wu had called her and asked to meet him in the lounge in an hour. She had agreed. But when the time came, she was in her office, applying lipstick, her thoughts wandering. The tube had slipped from her hand and rolled to the floor. She bent down to pick it up. And that was it. She forgot completely about Yan-Wu's invitation. Instead, she sat back at her desk and immersed herself in work, as though nothing had ever been planned. Now, back in the present, the doctor's voice cut through her reverie. "If this has happened before, why didn't you tell me earlier?" "I didn't feel any pain in my body," Hyen replied, her tone tinged with defensiveness. "So I thought it was normal. Is there really something wrong with me?" The doctor hesitated, then spoke with deliberate care. "You have what's called cloudcytoma. It's a very rare disease. In fact, you are the first recorded case in all of Korea." Her breath caught. "Do I need surgery?" "I'm afraid surgery is not possible. Your condition is unusually complex. The tumor is located in a part of the brain that makes it impossible to operate safely. And," he exhaled slowly, "there is no cure." Hyen's world seemed to narrow to a tunnel. As the doctor continued speaking, his voice grew faint. A strange pressure filled her head, and faint whispers began swirling in her ears. Blurred images crept into her vision. White shapes, snow falling soundlessly, the sensation of being somewhere cold and far away. "Ha-in!" The doctor's sharp tone pulled her back to reality. She blinked rapidly, trying to focus. "How can I get better?" she asked, her voice trembling now. "No matter how much it costs, there must be something." "There's no cure," he repeated, "but I can give you medication to help with the headaches and the memory loss." Her next question came in a whisper. "You mean I'm going to die? How much time do I have?" The doctor hesitated again. "If I have to give an estimate, around 3 months." It was the first time she had felt true fear, not the everyday kind, but the deep, cold fear that makes the body stiffen and the mind recoil. Later, in a quiet room, Hyen's voice was almost a growl. "They don't know anything." Yanwoo shook his head. "He's the best neurosurgeon here. If he says it's true..." "So, I'm just supposed to accept this?" she interrupted sharply. "Have you ever seen me eating junk food? Or packaged snacks? I don't drink alcohol. I've never smoked. I do yoga every day. I meditate. And yet, I have this? How?" He tried to calm her, but her frustration boiled over. "We live in an age when anything is possible. They can transplant hearts, clone sheep, send people into space, but they can't remove one tiny tumor from my brain. Let's go again tomorrow," Yanwoo said gently. "Maybe the doctor made a mistake. Rest for now." "Do you think I can sleep after this?" she muttered. That night, she lay awake, but Yanwoo, despite his earlier concern, eventually drifted into a deep, peaceful sleep. When he awoke in the morning, his mood felt strangely lighter, too light for the situation. He even caught himself humming as he looked in the mirror. Then, the reality hit him again. 3 months, that's all. A nervous laugh escaped him. "At least, I won't have to go through a divorce now." But the guilt made him stop smiling. He went to her room and saw her still sleeping, one arm dangling over the side of the bed. Something about the limpness of her hand made his stomach tighten. He stepped closer, touched her fingers gently. No response. He lifted her hand. It fell lifelessly back onto the mattress. Panic surged. "Ha-in?" Just as fear began to take over, her voice startled him. "What are you doing?" They were close, too close. On impulse, he kissed her. "Morning kiss," he murmured. She sat up, eyeing him suspiciously. "You seem in a good mood today." "No," he said quickly, looking away. "Your face is glowing," she teased. "You must have slept well." He touched his own cheek. "Nothing like that." They both got ready to visit the hospital. Before leaving, she turned to him, her voice low and firm. "No one should know about my condition. If anyone finds out, it's your fault." He frowned. "You won't even tell your family?" "Never. I'm about to join the 1 Trillion Club, and Grandpa promised control of Queen's Group only after that happens. My brother Suol is waiting for a chance to destroy me. My mother is no better. If they knew, they'd throw me out and tear each other apart over my assets." Her words left him silent. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Suol had been summoned by their grandfather for a serious mistake at the company, an 8 billion won tax blunder. The moment Suol walked into the office, Grandpa's voice thundered, "Learn from your sister. If Yanwu had been here, he would never have let this happen." The scolding left Suol so shaken, he suffered a panic attack and had to rest in bed. His mother rushed to his side. "Maybe Grandpa was too hard on you." Suol groaned. "It's all because of Yanwu. Always perfect. Always making me look bad. 8 billion won is nothing. He could have fixed it without telling Grandpa." His mother's anger flared, and she decided to confront Yanwu in person. Back at the hospital, Hein's tests confirmed the same grim diagnosis. The tumor was rare, inoperable. Yanwu pressed the doctor again. 3 months? That's all? "I can't give an exact number," the doctor said firmly. "You have 30 years of experience. You must know." Ha-in's patience snapped. "Enough. I don't want to hear it anymore. I'm leaving." After she walked out, Yanwu leaned forward. "Please, tell me exactly how many days she has. This is my life too." Outside, Ha-in paused as she noticed another patient, frail, pale, tethered to an IV stand. For a moment, her own mortality brushed against her thoughts, but she shook it away. "I'm not like them. Nothing like that will happen to me." Straightening her back, she walked toward her office. The day had barely settled into its rhythm when Hae-in's mother suddenly appeared, her presence sharp and unexpected, like a gust of wind sweeping through a quiet room. Yanwo, caught off guard, looked up in mild surprise. "What are you doing here?" he asked, his tone more puzzled than welcoming. Her mother's expression was already stormy, her voice cutting through the air like the crack of a whip. "So what if Suio paid 8 billion more in taxes?" she snapped. "Why did you have to interfere in that matter? I know you and Yanwo had a hand in this. You must have gone straight to your grandfather about it." Hae-in straightened, her voice calm but firm. "Yanwo would never do something like that deliberately, and I don't have the time or patience for all of this." But her mother wasn't ready to back down. Her words came hot with indignation. "Do you know Suchel had a panic attack because of your grandfather's scolding? Do you even understand the chaos you've caused?" Hae-in met her gaze, unshaken. "Oh, you must have been very worried about that," she said evenly. Then, with a faint, almost ironic smile, she added, "But I haven't told you yet about something far more serious that happened to me. Don't you want to hear about it?" Her mother's reply was cold and dismissive. "You've always handled everything on your own. Even if I knew, what could I do?" "You're right," Hae-in said quietly, her voice like steel wrapped in silk. "I should handle things myself, so you should go." She stepped aside as if to end the conversation, but when her mother turned toward the door, Hae-in stopped her with one last warning. "Stop interfering in our lives, or I'll make sure your son never forgets it." With that, she turned away, leaving her mother fuming in the doorway. Meanwhile, in a quiet, sunlit restaurant, Yanwo was having lunch with Yang, an old friend who had reluctantly agreed to act as his divorce lawyer. "I don't think I'll be needing your services," Yanwo said abruptly, pushing his plate aside. "I've found another way out, one that's safer, and it doesn't even involve a divorce." Yang's brows rose in intrigue. "Oh? And what's this mysterious solution you found?" Yanwu slid a folded letter across the table. "Too many ears here," he murmured. "Let's talk in the parking lot." Minutes later, the two men leaned out of their car windows, voices lowered to conspiratorial whispers. Yanwo told Yang about Hae-in's worsening health condition. Yang was stunned. "Do you realize what this means for you?" You were planning to walk away with nothing. Now, in 3 months, you could own the entire Queen's group. Yanwo shook his head with a faint, cynical smile. Do you really think her family is foolish enough to hand me the keys to their empire? She wrote it into her will before we were even married. Everything goes to her family. I get nothing. But 3 months is a long time, Yang pressed. If you win her back, if you make her trust you again, she could change that will. This could be your chance. Yanwo's eyes hardened. I'm not going to play some twisted love game for money. Yet later that day, Yanwo appeared at Hai In's office carrying a bouquet of fresh flowers. She eyed them warily. Why did you bring these? It's our wedding anniversary, he said simply. On our first one, I planned a surprise and you scolded me for being unnecessary. On our second, I did nothing, and you got angry again. She narrowed her eyes. Are you making fun of me? If I were, he said, holding her gaze, I wouldn't have brought flowers at all. Our married life hasn't exactly been beautiful, she said quietly. It can be, he replied, whenever we choose. He placed the flowers gently in her hands, wished her a happy anniversary, and left for his office, leaving her staring after him. She set the bouquet aside, but minutes later, she found herself calling a florist to order a potted plant. The next morning at breakfast, Yanwo surprised her again, this time by sitting beside her instead of across the table. I'll be sitting here from now on, he said casually. Hai In blinked, startled. Across the room, the household staff exchanged shocked glances. Yanwo peeled a shrimp, shaping it into a small heart before placing it on her plate. She didn't say anything, but her surprise was clear. Later, in the middle of an important meeting, Hai In began coughing during her presentation. Before she could wave it off, Yanwo left his own discussion mid-sentence and came to her side. Call a doctor, he ordered. It's nothing, she said quickly, embarrassed by the attention. But the room had already gone silent, eyes darting between them. That evening, she stood outside waiting for her car as a cool breeze swept past. Yanwo approached, draping his coat over her shoulders. You'll catch cold, he murmured, brushing a hand against her cheek. He took her hand, slipping it into his pocket to warm it. Her secretary froze in disbelief at the scene, but Hai In just stood there, quietly stunned. And when her car pulled up, Yanwo opened the door for her, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. In the car, she broke the silence. I told you not to pretend. I don't know how to pretend, he replied. What you're doing now, she said dryly, is exactly that. That weekend, the family gathered for lunch. Her mother was already simmering, accusing Hai In of building a department store on land belonging to her. Grandfather gave me permission, Hai In said firmly. That was before. Now it's creating problems for my team, her mother shot back. That's why I have to sue you. Hai In's temper flared, knowing full well this was her mother's revenge for what had happened to Suchel. Yanwo noticed her hands trembling, not with fear, but from the strain of her illness. He stood, taking her hand gently. Hai In's not feeling well. We're leaving. In the elevator, he said quietly, You wanted to keep this from your family. But they'll suspect something if they see your hands shaking like that. I know, she admitted. I don't usually lose my temper like this. But you were different today. You interrupted my mother. You supported me. She withdrew her hand. If you keep doing that, they'll suspect you too. Just act the way you used to. That night, Yanwo met Yang for drinks. Nothing's going to happen between us, he said. We've been strangers for 3 years. Things don't change overnight. Yang reminded him, 3 years ago you were crazy in love. She came to your hometown in a helicopter, for heaven's sake. Married you against her parents' wishes. That was then, Yanwo said flatly. As a divorce lawyer, I see it all the time, Yang said. Sometimes work eats away at love until there's nothing left. That's all this is, distance. The next day brought chaos of another kind. Hae-in's Aunt Bomja stormed into her ex-husband's wedding, where he was marrying the secretary he'd cheated with. She brought a full band, turning the ceremony into an uproar. The police were called, but Yanwo stepped in, paying them off to avoid scandal. Bomja told him about her 3 failed marriages, each ending in betrayal. "Grandfather wants you to come home," Yanwo said gently. "He's always protected you." And with that, she finally agreed to return. Grandpa had tried to keep his pace steady, but there was a heaviness in his steps as he approached Boma. The air between them was thick with unspoken tension. She stood stiffly, arms folded, her gaze cold and unyielding. Ever since his new companion had entered the picture, Boma's temper toward him had turned from quiet disapproval to open resentment. To her, the woman was more than just a disruptive presence. She was the shadow of a tragedy Boma couldn't forgive. In her mind, this companion had played a role in her mother's death, and no amount of explanation could soften that belief. "I don't want anything from your family," Grandpa said, his voice low, almost weary. "She's only my companion, nothing more." But his words met the solid wall of Boma's silence. She looked at him as though the sound had bounced right past her. It didn't matter what he said. She had already closed the door in her heart. Defeated, Grandpa turned away, retreating to his room. There, the soft click of go stones broke the stillness as he sat across from Sui Sui. She had claimed she didn't know the game well, but as the hours slipped by, her innocent facade crumbled into a quiet, precise mastery. When she finally claimed victory, her smile carried a spark of triumph. "As promised," she said, leaning forward just slightly. "I'll ask for a favor." "Go ahead," he replied, curious but calm. "Not yet," she teased. "I'll tell you when I know what I want." Meanwhile, in the garden, Hae-in's parents strolled among the trimmed hedges and blooming flowers. Her father, gazing at the soft light spilling across the petals, spoke with a nostalgic warmth. "Do you remember, before Hae-in was born, you dreamt of a shooting star? You were so happy, convinced we'd have a daughter." The moment Hae-in's name was spoken, the gentle curve of her mother's lips faltered. "I don't remember anything like that," she said flatly. He stopped, placing a hand on her arm. "How long will you hold on to the past? Let it go. Move forward." Her mother's eyes hardened. "You might forget Sue's death. The others might too. But I can't. I feel every bit of the pain she went through. I'll never forget. And I'll never forgive the one who caused it." With that, she walked away, leaving her husband silent among the roses. From a nearby path, Hae-in had overheard every word. The weight of it pressed into her chest. For the first time, a small, terrible thought took root. Could she, in some indirect way, have been part of Su Wen's death? She left the garden quietly, her steps heavy. Elsewhere, Yan Wu sat in his room, the dim lamplight pooling over stacks of papers. It was late, and still no sign of Hae-in. Worry gnawed at him. He remembered the conversation with the doctor. The prognosis had been grim, the odds of survival low. Yet the doctor had left a crack of light in the dark. "Miracles happen," he had said. "I've seen patients recover against all expectations." Yan Wu had been startled by the words. Not comforted exactly, just unsettled in a way he couldn't name. Tonight, he poured that unsettled energy into research, combing through case studies of patients with rare brain tumors like Hae-in's. Stories of recoveries, of tumors that vanished overnight, of experimental treatments and near-impossible victories. He read until his eyes burned. When Hae-in finally returned home, she headed toward her room, then stopped. Regret tugged at her. She shouldn't have been so harsh with him earlier. Quietly, she pushed open the door to his study. He was slumped over the desk, asleep, his laptop still open. Multiple tabs glowed with articles about her illness. She stared, startled, then softened. Even after everything, he's still worrying about me. She touched his shoulder gently. He stirred, and she wished him good night, turning to leave. But something in her made her pause. "I doubted you," she confessed. "I thought, maybe you'd be glad if I died, that you had some other reason for keeping me close. I didn't know you actually cared." Yanwu's voice was steady. "Don't give up hope. Miracles happen more often than you think." Her eyes searched his. "You're the only one who wants me to live. I don't know if my family will even care when I'm gone. But you—" He hesitated, then nodded. "Yes, I want you to live." "You've given me hope," she said. "I've done my own research too. There are promising treatments in other countries. I'll help fund the medicine's development if I have to. I won't die that easily, not for your sake." He smiled faintly, but as she left the room, he sat down by the door, the look in his eyes betraying a different truth. His greatest worry wasn't just losing her, but leaving the family entirely. Across town, Sushi snapped a selfie with his wife and son, only to be stopped. Posting their photo wasn't allowed. Their marriage was still a secret. His parents had insisted on it. His wife, changing the subject, told him her brother wanted to introduce him to an investor who had ties to the president of the Hera Group. "If you meet him, you could secure a deal that would please your grandfather," she said. That evening, Heian arrived at a glittering party hosted by the Hera Group's president, Mr. Herman. She was making her way toward him when a familiar face stepped into her path. An old college friend turned rival. The woman's voice dripped with condescension. "You know Herman values family above all else. Yet here you are, alone. No husband, no partner. Not exactly the image he respects." She walked away, leaving her words to sting. Heian retreated to the restroom, calling Yanwu. He answered briefly, "I'm in court," and hung up. When she emerged, her friend was waiting, ready with fresh taunts. "I hear your marriage is crumbling. Maybe you should have accepted Yan Sung's proposal back in college. Didn't you know he's now Herman's right-hand man?" Moments later, Heian spotted Yan Sung himself by Herman's side. She approached him cautiously. Their exchange was polite, but edged with old history. She made her request bluntly. She needed his help, and he made her earn even his consideration. Later, still alone, she texted Yanwu to ask about his trial. Her friend's laughter from across the room was a pointed reminder of her isolation. Then, a sudden jolt. Someone bumped into her, and she nearly fell. Strong hands caught her, Yanwu's. "I won the case," he said simply. "I came straight here." Mr. Herman arrived, and Heian introduced her husband with pride, subtly aiming the gesture toward her friend, whose own husband paled in comparison. Even so, Yan Sung lingered near, making Yanwu privately uneasy. Their exchanges were courteous on the surface, but hints of rivalry flickered underneath. The following day, the Hong family gathered for their annual hunting trip in the mountains. The helicopter ride was tense, Heian seated between Yanwu and Yan Sung, speaking mostly to the latter. The family's mountain estate sprawled beneath them, a place of tradition, competition, and unspoken battles. The helicopter blades slowed as they touched down on the mountaintop clearing, kicking up a swirl of dust and dry leaves. One by one, the members of the Hong family disembarked, stretching limbs stiff from the ride, their faces lit by the soft glow of the afternoon sun filtering through tall pines. Each hurried toward their partners, ready to embark on the annual family hunting competition, a tradition filled with fierce pride and unspoken rivalry. But Yanwu found himself standing alone at the edge of the landing site, watching as Heian walked away beside Yan Sun. His chest tightened with an ache he couldn't shake. That familiar, bitter pang of jealousy and hurt welled up inside him. She had chosen to go with Yan's son, and despite his attempts to push it aside, the sting was raw and immediate. With a sigh, Yan Wu turned his attention to the task ahead. The family was soon handed a detailed map of the forest's winding trails and dense thickets, along with a pair of rifles each. The mood was charged, excited whispers about strategy, boasting over past kills, and the thrill of the chase. The elders divided everyone into teams, assigning each group a specific sector in the sprawling wilderness. Yan Wu's relief was small but genuine when he saw that he and Heian were placed on the same team. She glanced at him with a teasing smirk. "You need to catch at least one animal this time," she chided lightly. "It's been 2 years since you last bagged anything." Yan Wu chuckled softly, the skepticism clear in his voice. "Is hunting really necessary? Does it matter if I don't catch anything?" Heian's eyes glinted with determination. "It's a test. Grandpa's way of seeing who's the smartest, who's got the best skills. I'm aiming to catch the most animals this year. You should too. Now let's get moving." As the team broke apart, venturing deeper into the forest, Yan Wu's thoughts were interrupted by a sudden hushed call over a phone. Grace's voice was urgent as she spoke to an unknown person, detailing the exact coordinates on the map. "Everything's ready," came the calm reply. Unseen by the hunters, the wild boar fence in Heian's assigned territory had been sabotaged. The sturdy barriers meant to keep the animals in place were torn apart, a deliberate act that would soon turn dangerous. Yan Wu and Heian had lost sight of each other amid the thick undergrowth. His calls of her name echoed unanswered, swallowed by the silence of the forest. Frustration twisted his stomach when he realized her phone had no signal, no way to reach her. Suddenly, a rustle, a snapping twig. Yan Wu raised his rifle, muscles tense. Out of the shadows stepped Yan Sung. "What are you doing here?" Yan Wu demanded, eyes narrowing. "This is our territory. You should be hunting in your own." Without waiting for an answer, Yan Sung raised his gun at an animal grazing nearby. Yan Wu fired a warning shot high into the air. The startled creature bolted away. "You don't just invade others' hunting grounds," he said sharply. Meanwhile, Heian spotted a wild boar ahead, its coarse fur bristling, nostrils flaring. She raised her rifle, but an agonizing headache sliced through her focus. Blurry shapes flickered at the edges of her vision. The forest seemed to shimmer, distort. Then came the strange sound, a rushing, whooshing noise growing louder. Her mind spiraled into a memory. Someone struggling in dark water, their face twisted in panic. The image faded to a girl standing before a school, eyes wide and scared. Heian blinked, shaking off the vision. But the boar charged suddenly, tusks gleaming. Before she could react, Yan Wu appeared, stepping in front of her, firing a shot that sent the beast crashing to the ground. She trembled, heart pounding, but relief flooded through her at the sight of Yan Wu's steady presence. The memory surged forward, vivid and warm. 4 years earlier, Yan Wu had taken Heian to his hometown, to a sprawling orchard bursting with ripened plums. The vast land stretched endlessly beneath a clear sky. "As far as the eye can see, this entire orchard belongs to my family," Yan Wu had said proudly. Heian had smiled quietly, unaware of the truths hidden behind her own guarded past. Later, he led her to a small shop and handed her a brightly colored ice pop. The cold sweetness was a new sensation for her, a simple joy she'd never known. "Didn't your mother ever give you treats like this when you were little?" he asked gently. Heian shook her head. Yan Wu's heart clenched at the thought of the poverty she'd endured. "You always wear shirts with holes," he said softly. She shrugged. "It's vintage style. I buy them from Europe." He chuckled. "My grandmother wears clothes like that." "I'd shock you if you knew the price of these clothes," Heian teased back. "There's no need to pretend around me. I get it. Trust me, I'm not that poor." Yan Wu grinned. From today, I'll give you every happiness you've never had. Hayan laughed, her guard dropping just a little. I'm not studying. Even if my family's in debt, it's okay. He shook his head. No matter the problem, I'll be here. That's how our story began. Back in the forest, Hayan's hallucination faded, replaced by the solid, grounding presence of Yan Wu. She felt a fragile hope stir within her. Suddenly, Yan Sung appeared, breathless, asking about Hayan's condition. Yan Wu insisted she needed rest and began carrying her through the trees, her legs numb from shock. A faint blush crept across Hayan's cheeks. "Isn't this a bit much?" she whispered. "If it were any other day, maybe," Yan Wu replied with a smile. "But today, you need it." As he carried her toward the resort, every pair of eyes in the group turned to watch in surprise. Meanwhile, Suyo rushed to his mother, breathless. "It's about Hayan, her condition." But Hayan waved off the concern. "I'm fine, Auntie." Boma's praises for Yan Wu filled the air. Suchol's eyes widened. "I thought he didn't know how to use a gun. Guess he's been pretending all these years." Hayan chimed in. "He's the best shooter I've ever known, trained with the military and special forces." Suchol looked stunned. He had always teased Yan Wu about learning to shoot. Later, Yan Wu returned to the forest, investigating the wild boar's escape. The fence was broken, and scattered food had been deliberately placed to lure the animal out. The next evening, during dinner, Yan Wu explained what he had found. Shock rippled through the family. Grandpa frowned. "I'll review the CCTV myself, but for now, eat peacefully." Pen's father showed unexpected kindness, serving Yan Wu his favorite dishes with careful hands. Hayan's mother struck up a conversation with Yan Sung, who shared his story, orphaned, adopted by an American couple, only to lose them again. "You can consider our family your own," Grandpa said warmly. After dinner, Yan Sung offered the caretaker a huge sum for the dog he adored, a dog that had once saved the caretaker's son from a fire. The caretaker hesitated, but eventually agreed. In a quiet hallway, Suol spotted Yan Wu and ordered him to sleep, but Yan Wu pressed to discuss the case he was handling for Suol's company. Suol waved him off, promising to talk tomorrow. Later, as Yan Wu prepared for bed, Suol teased him about sharing a room with Hayan. "She's my wife," Yan Wu said with a smile. "Why would I be scared?" When Yan Wu reached his room, he quietly entered, but Hayan was awake. "Why are you so late?" she asked softly. He stumbled over an excuse, mentioning Suol's interruption. Hayan's protective side flared. "Is Suol bothering you? I'll teach him a lesson." Yan Wu shook his head. "It's late. No need for that." Hayan pulled off her jacket, revealing injured hands. "Help me unzip this." Yan Wu's hands trembled as he unfastened the buttons. She stopped him, insisting she could do it herself. "Why aren't you taking off your clothes?" she asked. "Do you mean to take a shower?" he replied, surprised. Hayan nodded. As Yan Wu showered, she sat quietly, mind swirling with thoughts of his unexpected heroism and dashing presence. Why am I thinking about him so much? She wondered, blaming herself. When he emerged wrapped in a towel, Yan Wu nervously explained, "I couldn't find the bathroom inside, so—" Hayan stared, caught off guard. As Yan Wu turned, she slipped away to shower, yet her thoughts stayed with him. The way he carried himself, the quiet strength in his eyes. The knock at the door startled her. Yan Wu stepped inside, their eyes locking, silence hanging heavy between them.